I'm the Irish guy, and lads, it is so sad to see footballers who have their careers down the gutter. I mean, it is, because this is a dream career to have. I mean, I would happily sacrifice both my arms and possibly my nose to even have 5 minutes on the pitch at Soccer Raid. Never mind the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, all I learned this week is that Asa Butterfield has the first touch of a dead flower. But lads, I'm gonna pick every Premier League club and find one player who they should rescue this summer. Players who are at a fallen, rock bottom moment in their career where nobody wants to look at them. In the same way that Marvel rescued Robert Downey Jr. from the gutter. This is gonna be a video where I'm championing for 20 comebacks. Right, let's go. Arsenal Sadio Mane. Why not? Arsenal need experience in their squad. I know that Liverpool fans will look at this suggestion and feel like their brains will explode out their ears, but relax. Arsenal and Liverpool aren't really big rivals at all. So this move, seeing Sadio Mane holding an Arsenal shirt outside the Emirates, shouldn't really make you vomit Weetabix out your nose. Lads, the Gunners have enough talented kids. They need a legit superstar, and maybe it's harsh to include Mane in this list of misfits. I mean, Dele Alli will turn up in this list. It was only a year ago this guy was in the Champions League final, but this has been his rock bottom season. 7 goals in the league for Bayern Munich, being comfortably outscored by Eric Choupo-Moting. You know, that Stoke flop? He was suspended from the team for punching Leroy Sané in the nose. Thomas Tuchel wants rid of him, and he's been offered a deal at Al Ittifaq. This is a nightmare for the guy. Go get in Mikel Arteta. I know he's 31, but I am sorry. This is a guy with 111 Premier League goals. Imagine telling Arteta, back when he's losing at home to Burnley, and Mane was winning the Golden Boot, imagine telling him that he could one day sign Mane for what? £20 million? Go get the deal done! Aston Villa Christian Pulisic. How frustrated do you think Chelsea fans are with Christian Pulisic? I would imagine that every time they look at this bloke, they probably feel like they just swallowed a fork. This man always had insane levels of talent. I mean, when he arrived at Stamford Bridge, he was marketed as Captain America. Yeah, I mean, as far as superheroes go, he's more like that Toad of X-Men. Last season, he scored 1 goal in 30 games for their club and finished 12th. Don't you tell me that the career of America's star boy is not now floating in a sink filled with cheap placenta. Back in the USA, he's probably known as soccer's answer to LeBron. And yet, because of a dodgy knee and a crisis of form, most people around West London would look at him the same way you'd look at an elephant in a mini skirt. He needs a move. And this is the last summer where Chelsea can get a transfer fee for him. Right now, he's linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. I am sorry, but if America's best player goes play for Al Hilal when he's 24, it's all sorts of sad. It'd be like a middle-aged bloke seeing his 18-year-old daughter agreeing to marry Hugh Hefner. I mean, apart from getting a free purse every Thursday, what sort of life is that? Just helping your husband poo in a bag? Aston Villa should sign Pulisic. They can offer European football and a top-class manager in Unai Emery. And I'm sorry, but can you imagine a front three of Leon Bailey, Ollie Watkins, and an in-form Pulisic? Defenders would be begging for mercy. Bournemouth Danny Rose. Okay, I'll admit it. This one just makes me sad. Did anybody see Danny Rose try his hand at punditry this season? When Newcastle beat Tottenham 6-1, the guy was essentially begging Eddie Howe for a job. This is a man who just 3 years ago was confronting Jose Mourinho on TV, demanding to know why he wasn't in the Tottenham starting 11. Oh yeah, and telling Daniel Levy to get a move to AC Milan. To see him now, just a shell of that figure, dressed up on TV like Cheryl Cole, and admitting to the world that he's fallen out of love with the game. It's really sad, but the guy also hasn't actually retired. I mean, he was training with York City in March. I know he was binned off by Watford. And yes, I realise he looked like an unfit left back who probably gorged on bacon sandwiches. But let's be honest, that Watford dressing room was a toxic mess. It was so bad that even the most positive, optimistic Disney Channel footballer in the world, it caused him to briefly retire. I mean, Ben Foster would rather have played in the conference in Wales than championship football at Vicarage Road. So maybe there is a little rainbow of hope for Rose. Get him in the Bournemouth squad on a free. Make him second choice left back. And who knows, he might be alright. Brentford Jesse Lingard. I realise that everybody has given up on Jesse Lingard, and rightly so. 0 goals and 0 appearances for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League last season. So naturally, this is where the links to Turkey, America, and Saudi Arabia come in. Everyone will now have written off Lingard as an over-the-hill fat pancake of a footballer. I would imagine, even now, me suggesting to Brentford that they sign him has probably caused some of those fans to question just why they clicked on this video, because clearly I'm about as clever as boiled pig soup. Nah, lads, it was only 18 months ago that Lingard was scoring 9 in 16 games for West Ham. He even banged in a couple of goals for Man United in 2021. At 30 years old, he's not subtle, just become a big bag of potatoes overnight. This guy has blown hot and cold his entire career. I reckon soon he's gonna blow hot again. The Forest move did not work, no, but I would suggest a change of position. He's in his 30s. If I were Thomas Frank, I would try to turn Jay Lings into a central midfielder, similar to what Jurgen Klopp did with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, before his bones turned into milk when he hooked up with that one-off little mix. I mean, what's he been doing? Smashing his knees with a hammer while he sleeps? Lad, replace Mikkel Damsgaard in the middle of the park. Have Lingard be that number 8 in the midfield 3. Teach him the basics of how to actually defend and tackle. And if you can turn this fashionista playboy into a disciplined CM, then Frank, you deserve an extra muffin for dessert. Brighton Donny van de Beek. Yeah, Donny van de Beek's career just makes me sad. And probably all of you even think this is too good a move for him. Getting a transfer to a Europa League level club. You probably all think it's like me trying to get an alcoholic homeless woman in her 90s a date with Zac Efron, which is mad to say considering only 4 years ago the guy was nominated for the Ballon d'Or. Ever since rejecting a move to Real Madrid in 2020, Van de Beek's career has rotted like a Halloween pumpkin in July. Whether it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer quickly deciding that he was about as useful as a shoe made of chocolate, or Frank Lampard barely giving him a run out on loan at Everton, or even last season when he was destroyed by any injury, it's been a nightmare. But Brighton are probably going to lose 2 big name midfielders this summer. They also need squad depth for European football, and he's got 2 years left on his Man United deal. So either tie up another cheeky loan deal, or just buy him for what? 18 million quid? I actually think under Bobby De Zerbi, who plays a similar style to the Ajax team in 2019, I think he'd be top class. Just make sure you have a world-class nurse though, or otherwise, you're never gonna get the stench of his armpits out of the treatment room. Burnley Philippe Coutinho. How weird is this? When did you ever think you'd ever see anybody on planet Earth ever tip Philippe Coutinho to move to Burnley when he tied up that £120 million move to Barcelona? Imagine if anyone told them that in just 5.5 years, there'd be some grubby little goblin from Ireland telling the internet he should move to Turf Moor. That probably makes about as much sense as me suggesting that KSI in 5 years should apply for a job at McDonald's. But this actually does make sense. Let's be real here. Philly C has been an Aston Villa flop. He can't get in the team. Who else is going to have him? To be fair, I actually think a move to Roma will be exciting. I mean, him and Hossein Mawar in the same midfield. Excuse me while I drew it all over my lap, but instead, they probably just got offered deals in Texas or Japan. Go to Burnley, who weirdly, under Vincent Kompany, actually play a slick, easy on the eye brand of football, and they also play with a number 10. Yeah, I know, back in the days of Sean Dyche, he would probably sooner have accepted the same fate as Ned Stark than play with a CAM, but under Kompany, yes, he would have to accept another wage cut. I mean, in the space of 3 years, he'll have gone from £9 million a year to 45 grand a week. I mean, I'm guessing his wife probably won't be happy having to sell the Lambo, buy a Volvo, and live in a town that smells of beer. But I mean, who are we kidding? Merseyside is an hour away in the car. Coutinho would not have to live in Burnley. He could just get his house back in Liverpool. I just think under Kompany, Coutinho would shine. Chelsea Paul Pogba. This is strange. Paul Pogba has been an absolute mess for years. Since when did he become so injury prone? I mean, last season alone, he missed 44 games for Juventus through injury. He still hasn't started a game of football for Juventus in 7 years. Surely this guy's time in Europe is rapidly wrapping up. And nah, I wouldn't be shocked to see him move to America by Christmas. But part of me thinks that Mauricio Pochettino could get this guy to click. I mean, whenever Pochettino was linked to the Man United job, the paper always said that Pogba was going to be his monster key player, who he would build a team around. But I mean, then again, he did just spend this week frothing over the skills of Noah Beck. If Pochettino plays his familiar 4-2-3-1 formation at Stamford Bridge, then having Pogba in that number 10 role, alternating with Enzo Fernandez during the match, I think he'd be top class. Juventus would probably want to get rid for about £15 million, and he's only actually on wages of £168,000 a week. Yeah, Chelsea play Mark Cucurella more than that. It's a risk, but come on, he's better than Ruben Loftus-Cheek. A fit Pogba is a quality Pogba. Crystal Palace Ross Barkley. Don't give up on Ross Barkley. I mean, maybe we should. Maybe he is just now some old stale donut with the stamina of Homer Simpson. I mean, he just failed on loan at Nice. I mean, sort of. That's what the media want you to think, now that he's been released after just a year. But to be fair, he played nearly 30 games for the club, scored 4 goals, got 2 assists. He was unfairly left out of the European squad, which probably forced the poor boy to angrily shove croissants up his nose. But listen, all Palace need to do is just sign him up on a free, chuck him in midfield, and tell him to do what Conor Gallagher was doing 2 years ago. It's worth a gamble. Everton Nicolas Pepe. Yeah, sticking with the Nice theme, Nicolas Pepe is a 28-year-old winger who once cost Arsenal £72 million. He's not just some fat fella who'd be better suited to playing tennis with his cat. There is ability in this man's feet. I mean, there were flashes of it at the Emirates and last season on loan at Nice, where he actually did okay. 8 goals, 1 assist in an injury-ravaged year. Well, he's since been sent back to Arsenal, and I think there's more chance of Mikel Arteta eloping with a Teletubby than there is of him giving Pepe another start. The Ivorian's career is very much stuffed down a drain pipe, but he's got 1 year left on his deal. If Sean Dyche could pull off £9 million switch? I mean, lads, Arsenal are so desperate to get rid. They'll probably cancel his contract if he's still there in September. By August 31st, the club will probably be happy to accept any changes Sean Dyche's piggy bank. They want rid of Pepe, and I think this man has more individual quality than any other attacking player in Everton's squad. So yeah, what a bargain buy this would be. Fulham Alexis Sanchez. Why not? Don't look at me like that. Marco Silva has successfully rehabilitated Willian, an ex-Arsenal flop who's rotting away in Brazil. I mean, imagine suggesting that Fulham sign him last year. You'd rightfully have reacted to that suggestion the same way as if I told you you have to help your obese auntie out of the bath. Lad, Sanchez is such a monster name in worldwide football. He's been representing his country since 2004. He's got 153 caps for the senior Chile team. But let's be honest, his reputation was ruined just a few weeks after playing that piano at Old Trafford. He's been a walking joke, a punchline for about half a decade. Even last season when he was getting sent off at Anfield for Inter Milan. But he's not as bad as we all think. He scored 18 goals for Marseille this season, 9 the previous campaign for Inter Milan. I know he turns 35 in December, but I mean, he's still younger than Willian. I don't know, I think if Fulham can tempt him and his dogs back to London, maybe just rub some pedigree chum under Marco Silva's chin, then a £9 million deal, I think he could have the same impact as Willian. Liverpool, Carney Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka has done exactly what everybody thought. He's been largely ignored in the chaos at Chelsea. Look, this would be a very unusual transfer, but maybe Liverpool could go in there and sign this talented Austrian-born midfielder for about 30 million quid. I know it's a lot of money and a risk, and Chelsea might not even sell, but I mean, there's a club who once cashed in on Lassana Diarra, selling him to a top 4 rival in Arsenal, and yeah, he grew up to play for Real Madrid. I know, it's an unusual one, but maybe Jurgen Klopp could sign him? Luton Town Dele Alli. I know Dele Alli has just failed in Turkey, and so everyone thinks that he should just retire. He's returned to Everton, but lads, he's played 13 games so far for the Toffees. Once he plays 20 games, the club have to pay Tottenham not 1, not 2, but £10 million. I reckon Farma Shiri is probably threatening Dyche with a sack if he gives Ali 7 more games. Go to Luton Town on loan. The man can live in London again. Instead of having to make friends in Liverpool and Istanbul, I think being chucked into an underdog team of battlers, it'll remind him of his MK Don days. This would be a lifeline for Ali. I know Luton don't play with a number 10, but you can play him in a midfield 5 or as a second striker. I mean, if there are any Luton fans that actually turn this down, oh, give your head a shake. When he was scoring twice against Real Madrid in the Champions League and earning a £100 million price tag, you were losing 3-0 at home to Swindon in League 2. Take Ali. Man City, Loris Karius. Nobody. Manchester City don't need to sign any crisis footballers this summer. I mean, why would they? They've won the treble. Maybe for the laugh, just take pity on Loris Karius and offer him the chance to be 3rd or 4th choice goalie. I mean, he has played in the Champions League final before. I mean, he played in the League Cup final last season. And oh yeah, spent 2 years at the Etihad from 2009 to 2011. He played for their under 18 and under 21 teams. So maybe just be nice. Give him a contract and make him the next Scott Carson. I mean, if nothing else, just have him hang around the place just to be a Liverpool meme. He can be the clown of the Etihad. I mean, every morning, Jack Grealish makes him watch clips of that night against Real Madrid, seeing how many times you can make the German cry before lunch. Man United, Sadio Berahino. Just kidding, okay? Just kidding, okay? Don't worry. Take 2. Man United, Mario Icardi. He's better than Weghorst, alright? Lads, I know. Manchester United fans will hate this suggestion because once again, they'd be shopping for a striker who was on loan in Turkey. But Mario Icardi might have been baggage in the past, but he's talented. Lads, he's been on the books of Barcelona, Inter Milan and PSG. It was only 3 years ago. He had a 20-goal season at PSG. And he was a goal machine in Serie A. And even last season, 22 goals in 24 league games for Galatasaray. His career and reputation is, yes, down the toilet. But tell me, why wouldn't you want him in the Man United squad?
Oh, because his wife is a horrible headache. She's worse than Rabiot's mum.
Lads, Icardi's wife, that football vulture Wanda Nara, is no longer his agent or even his wife. They split in 2022 after she accused him of cheating. So what exactly is the excuse not to make this move work? This guy is such an upgrade on Weghorst. I'm not saying that he would be the main centre forward, but as an option off the bench. I mean, he's not even in the same league as Weghorst or Gallo. And he's even better than that version of Cavani. He's got a year left in his PSG deal, so for what? £15 million? Quality buy. Newcastle, Gini Wijnaldum. This is a risk that Newcastle probably don't need to take, but I can't be the only one who thinks that Gini Wijnaldum deserves another chance. Since quitting Liverpool in 2021, he was a bench warmer under Pochettino at PSG, moved to Roma on loan, where he was injured pretty much all season long. It's a shame because this Dutchman is a baller on his day, and Newcastle need a bigger squad depth for the Champions League. Wijnaldum also played for the Magpies before. I mean, to be fair, he did get relegated, but I mean, he had his moments, like scoring 4 against Norwich in one match. I don't think anybody ever saw this guy ever returning to St. James's, but I mean, now they're in the Champions Champions League. No way in a donkey's armpit would he say no. Listen, a fit Wijnaldum is perfect for Eddie Howe ball. He's got a year left in his PSG deal. So honestly, £10 million deal. Stick him on the Newcastle bench and see if he can battle his way into the team. I know he's 32, but considering his level of experience, who else at Newcastle has really won anything? This bloke has won the lot. Honestly, how could do a lot worse? Nottingham Forest, Aaron Ramsey. Doesn't this seem like such a Nottingham Forest signing? Listen, Aaron Ramsey's career has been in a hole ever since he left the Emirates 4 years ago. A big money disaster at Juventus. A horror show at Rangers where he cost them the Europa League. And finally, just a pretty average spell at Nice. He's available on a free this summer. And I reckon for squad depth, well, go for a Steve Cooper. Don't forget, he's actually a former Forest player too. Played 5 games for them alone 12 years ago. Listen, if Jack Colback could survive a Premier League season at Forest midfield, then Ramsey would be fine. Sheffield United, Wout Weghorst. What happened to Wout Weghorst's reputation? Don't get it twisted. I know he got a 3 move this season, but he's a football joke right now. 0 goals in the Premier League for Man United, and before that, relegated at Burnley. Remember when this man was marketed as a Bundesliga beast? Another goal machine? The modern day Kevin Cavani? Does anyone remember who Cavani was? But Weghorst, now. He scored 2 goals in 37 Premier League games. That is awful. And technically, right now, I know it's confusing, but he's a Burnley player. Company is his coach. So Sheffield United would be buying from their promotion buddies, which would be strange. But listen, Weghorst's reputation has taken such a huge hit. But I reckon up front in Sheffield United's 3-5-2 system, give him a quick striker to play off him. Instead of being a lone striker beanpole for Burnley and Man United, play him in the front too, and I reckon he'd score goals. Tottenham Harry Maguire. Look how miserable Harry Maguire looks. He looks like he's just been told to bite off his sister's head. But lads, I know he's a joke right now. I know he's a high profile mess. But he'd be fine for Spurs. Just remember that Maguire at Leicester City, he was so good even Man City wanted him. Maguire is a bit like Nathan Ake. Everybody made up their mind about him at Bournemouth. And this fella just could not defend. Oh really? Because he just won the treble playing over 40 games? So yeah, Maguire at Tottenham would be decent. West Ham Eden Hazard. Yes, I know. Eden Michael Walter Hazard is on the verge of hanging up his boots. But don't do it! I know the 32-year-old has been scarred by his time at Real Madrid. He probably can't understand why eating popcorn and Jaffa cakes every day isn't conducive to being a £100 million success. But just give the Premier League another crack in. Lads, West Ham can literally sign this man on a free. Give him a £150,000 a week salary. Just bite the bullet and do it. I mean, come on. You're giving £125,000 a week to Danny Ings, David Sullivan. Go do it. You know you want to. Wolves Matt Doherty. Just bring him back. Matt Doherty's career is in a bin. He just got a dream move to Atletico Madrid, and the Irish fullback was embarrassed. The next Kieran Trippier. Nah, he played twice. Please, Wolves. Please, Julian Lopetegui, just bring him back to Molyneux, because after 6 months being ignored by Diego Simeone, he probably now has the self-confidence of a socially awkward snail. Anyway, that's Stephen. Let me know what do you think. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? What player would you like to rehabilitate? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, comment as always. I'll talk to you in a while.